Imagine this. Your soulmate could be right in front of you, sharing your life in ways you never even noticed, and you have no idea. You might think finding true love comes with grand signs or dramatic moments, but what if Allah has already introduced you to the one meant for you without you realizing it? In this video, I'm going to reveal 7 powerful, unexpected ways Allah connects you with your soulmate. Some of these will hit so close to home that you'll start rethinking the people already around you. Trust me, by the end, you might just realize that your soulmate has been right under your nose all along. Don't miss this. It might change how you see love forever. Lesson 1. The one who heals your wounds. Why do I feel safe opening up? Have you ever found yourself sharing your deepest thoughts with someone you barely know, and it just felt right? It's like your heart naturally trusts them, even though logic tells you to hold back. You wonder why it feels so easy to open up, why it doesn't feel forced or uncomfortable. Sometimes Allah places people in your life who are meant to help you heal, even if you don't realize it at first. They come quietly, without big promises or grand gestures. Maybe it's a friend who simply listens when you need to vent. Maybe it's someone who asks how you're really doing and doesn't judge your answer. You didn't expect it, but suddenly you're talking about things you usually keep buried inside. There's something so unique about being able to open up without fear of being judged. You can tell them about your struggles, your mistakes, your regrets, and instead of feeling shame, you feel lighter. They don't see you as broken, they see you as someone trying to heal. They're not there to fix you or give you solutions. They're just there, being present, listening, and reminding you that you don't have to carry your burdens alone. Allah knows that we're not just looking for someone to share happy moments with. We're also looking for someone who can handle the messy, complicated parts of our lives. That's why He sometimes brings people into our lives who can help us process our pain. They don't force advice on us or dismiss our feelings. Instead, they offer gentle encouragement, reminding us that it's okay to be vulnerable, that it's okay to feel weak sometimes. Think about it. When you find someone who makes your heart feel lighter after a heavy day, that's special. It's not just a coincidence. It's a blessing. Maybe they're the person who texts to check on you just when you're feeling down, or the one who notices your silence when others don't. They may not realize it, but they're helping you put the pieces of your heart back together. Love doesn't always arrive with excitement and butterflies. Sometimes it arrives with peace, with comfort, with someone who sits next to you when you feel overwhelmed and simply stays. Healing isn't always about big breakthroughs. Sometimes it's about having someone who quietly stays beside you as you slowly rebuild. If someone makes your struggles feel more bearable, don't overlook that gift. Healing together is powerful. Sometimes love is not about being perfect together, it's about being imperfect together. About finding someone who doesn't mind the mess you're in and who is willing to walk with you through it. Maybe Allah chose them to be part of your healing because He knows that your heart needs more than just happiness. It needs understanding. It needs someone who sees your pain without turning away. Someone who doesn't just love your smile, but also supports you through your tears. Remember, sometimes love isn't about dramatic declarations or romantic gestures. Sometimes it's about feeling whole again in someone's presence. Feeling like you can breathe, like you don't have to pretend to be strong all the time. If you found that with someone, hold on to it. It might just be Allah's way of saying, here's someone who can help you heal. Lesson 2. The one who changes your perspective. Why do they challenge my thinking? Have you ever met someone who just makes you think differently? Maybe it's the way they look at life, the way they question things, or how they refuse to settle for easy answers. You find yourself in conversations where they challenge your beliefs, not in a harsh or disrespectful way, but in a way that makes you pause and think. At first it might even be frustrating. You're used to seeing things a certain way, and then they come along and flip your perspective upside down. It's almost as if they're wired differently. They don't just accept things the way they are. They push you to question your habits, your mindset, and your outlook on life. You might wonder why you feel drawn to them, despite the way they push your buttons sometimes. It's confusing, but there's something captivating about how they make you see things differently. Sometimes Allah sends someone into your life, not just to make you feel comfortable, but to help you grow. Growth is rarely comfortable. It challenges you to step out of your safe little bubble, to rethink the way you've always done things. This person might not always say what you want to hear, but what they say sticks with you long after the conversation is over. You find yourself reflecting on their words late at night, replaying the way they made you see your situation differently. It's easy to surround yourself with people who agree with you all the time, but that's not how you grow. That's not how you become a better person. Sometimes Allah knows that your soul needs a little push, a little discomfort to truly develop. And that's where this person comes in. They don't just nod along with your opinions. They question them. They ask you to dig deeper, to think harder, to challenge your own assumptions. Maybe you're someone who always avoids conflict, but they make you face your fears. Maybe you're someone who gets stuck in negative thinking, but they constantly remind you to see the positive side. Or perhaps you've been living on autopilot, just doing what you're used to, and they come along with a different perspective that makes you question everything. It's not easy. Sometimes you feel like they're criticizing you or pushing you too hard. You might even feel hurt or defensive at times. But then you realize that they're not trying to put you down. They're trying to help you see your own potential. They see something in you that you may not even see in yourself. They want you to realize that you're capable of more than you're giving yourself credit for. Think about the people who have challenged your thinking in the past. Maybe at first you were annoyed by them. You didn't want to hear what they had to say. But looking back, you realized that their words made you stronger. They pushed you to rethink the way you handle stress, relationships, or even your own self-worth. They didn't let you stay stuck in a mindset that was holding you back. This kind of connection is not easy to handle, but it's important. Love is not just about feeling good all the time. Sometimes it's about being uncomfortable for the sake of growth. When someone truly loves you, they're not going to let you settle for less than you deserve. They'll push you to rise above your limitations, even if it means challenging your comfort zone. You might feel resistant at first. You might think, why can't they just let me be? But deep down, you know that without people like this in your life, you'd never reach your true potential. They care enough to push you, to question you, to challenge your habits and beliefs. And that's a kind of love that's more powerful than just agreeing with everything you say. It's normal to feel confused when someone makes you question your old ways of thinking. You might feel frustrated, but try to see it from another perspective. Maybe Allah brought them into your life to help you break free from mental chains that have been holding you back for years. Maybe this person is part of your growth journey, teaching you that love sometimes means shaking up your comfort zone. Don't push away someone who challenges your mindset with kindness and wisdom. Don't label them as difficult or confrontational just because they're not afraid to call you out when you're wrong. They're not trying to be right. They're trying to help you see a bigger picture. If someone inspires you to think differently, to reassess your habits, or to challenge your own doubts, don't take that for granted. Sometimes Allah sends someone to transform not just your heart, but your entire mindset. Love is not always easy, but it's always meant to help you grow. Maybe, just maybe, that person who makes you question yourself is the one meant to help you become the best version of yourself. Allah knows what your soul needs, and sometimes it's not comfort, it's growth. And growth always starts with a little discomfort. Lesson 3. The one who awakens your spirituality. Why am I suddenly more focused on my deen? Have you ever met someone who suddenly makes you feel more connected to your faith? It's like being around them reminds you of your purpose, your spirituality, and your relationship with Allah. You didn't expect it, but their presence makes you think about your iman more often. Maybe it's the way they talk about life, with gratitude and wisdom, or maybe it's how they never miss their prayers, even when things get hectic. You find yourself reflecting on your own habits and thinking, I want to be more like that. At first, you might not even notice it. You're just drawn to how peaceful they seem, how they handle challenges with patience, and how they never lose hope. It's inspiring. You might catch yourself being more mindful of your own actions, paying more attention to your salah, or even making extra dua when things get tough. It's not that they lecture you or tell you what to do. It's simply their way of living that makes you want to become better. Sometimes Allah sends people into your life to awaken your spirituality. You might not have even realized you were drifting away from your faith, but their presence is a gentle nudge to come back. It's not about them being perfect or overly pious. It's about how they live their faith in a way that's natural and sincere. They don't boast about their worship or judge you for your struggles. Instead, they make practicing deen look peaceful, beautiful, and fulfilling. It might start with something small. You notice them reading Qur'an in a quiet moment, and it makes you want to reconnect with the words of Allah too. Or they casually mention something they learned from a hadith, and it sparks your curiosity to learn more. You might even feel a little embarrassed at first, thinking, why am I not as consistent? But rather than feeling judged, you feel motivated. You want that same inner peace they seem to carry. There's something profound about love that brings you closer to Allah. It's different from infatuation or fleeting attraction. It's deep, rooted in a desire to grow together. Maybe you notice that you're becoming more mindful of your actions, not because they ask you to change, but because their influence makes you want to be a better Muslim. You start thinking about your purpose in life differently. You're not just living for yourself anymore. You're thinking about how to build a future that pleases Allah. Sometimes you might even feel confused. Why is this person making such a big impact on your faith? It's not that they're preaching or correcting you all the time. It's their presence. It naturally encourages you to reconnect with your deen. That's when you realize that this is not just a simple connection. Allah places people in your life who guide you back to Him, sometimes without even trying. You might find yourself wanting to do more good deeds. You start making more sincere du'as, not just for yourself but for them too. You ask Allah to bless them, to guide you both, and to help you become a better person together. That's when you know this connection is special. Real love in Islam is not just about attraction or companionship. It's about spiritual growth. It's about finding someone who reminds you of Jannah, not just in words but through their actions. Think about how they encourage you without even realizing it. Maybe they talk about how they're trying to memorize more Qur'an, and you suddenly feel motivated to do the same. Or they mention how much peace they find in tahajjud, and you find yourself waking up at night to experience that calm too. It's not forced. It's not about impressing them. It's about how their dedication inspires you to seek the same closeness to Allah. This kind of connection is rare. Sometimes we think love should be passionate and thrilling, but the most beautiful love is the one that brings tranquility to your soul. It's when being with someone makes you feel more connected to your Creator. You start making better choices, not out of fear or guilt, but because you genuinely want to become a better person. When you reflect on it, you realize that it's not just about them. It's about how Allah used them as a means to guide you. Sometimes you were lost, and Allah sent someone who brought you back to your purpose without even knowing it. That's a blessing. It's not just love. It's a reminder that Allah cares for you and wants you to return to Him. If you find someone who naturally brings you closer to Allah, don't take that lightly. People like this are rare, and their presence in your life is a gift. Sometimes, the way they live their faith is a silent reminder that you too are capable of growing spiritually. They make you want to become someone worthy of a blessed relationship, someone who walks the path of deen alongside them. Sometimes, it's not about finding someone who makes you feel complete. It's about finding someone who inspires you to complete your faith. They're not just your companion in this world, they're someone who motivates you to strive for Jannah together. Don't push away someone who awakens your spirituality. Maybe Allah placed them in your life to show you that love rooted in faith is the most lasting and fulfilling. Love that awakens your soul is powerful. It doesn't distract you from your purpose. It realigns you with it. It makes you want to live with intention, to pray with sincerity, and to become the best version of yourself. That's the kind of love that lasts, because it's built on something unshakable: faith. If you've found that, hold on to it. Allah knows what your heart needs, and sometimes it's not just love. Lesson 4. The one who understands your silences. Why do I feel understood without saying a word? Have you ever met someone who just understands you, even when you're not saying a single word? It's like they can read your emotions without you having to explain anything. You're sitting there, lost in your thoughts, and somehow they just know something's off. Maybe they give you a reassuring look, a comforting touch, or they just sit beside you in silence, letting you know that they're there. You don't have to pretend or put on a brave face. With them, silence isn't awkward. It's peaceful. It's rare, isn't it? In a world where everyone is constantly talking, constantly trying to fill the silence with noise and opinions, finding someone who understands your quiet moments feels almost surreal. They don't rush you to explain yourself. They don't bombard you with questions. Instead, they respect your need for space, for stillness, for quiet reflection. It's like they understand that sometimes words just aren't enough. Sometimes, we think love is about being able to talk for hours without getting bored. But real connection goes beyond conversations. It's about feeling seen and understood, even when your words fail you. You don't have to explain why you're feeling low or why you're not yourself today. They just know. It's not something you've taught them, it's something they've learnt by truly paying attention to who you are. This kind of understanding is not just coincidence. Sometimes, Allah places someone in your life who can read the language of your silence. They don't assume, they don't judge, they just intuitively know when your heart is heavy. You could be in a room full of people, feeling completely out of place, and they'll be the one who notices. They'll find a way to reach out to you without making you feel pressured. Maybe it's because they've been through similar struggles. Maybe their own battles taught them how to recognize pain in others. Or maybe Allah gave them that wisdom and empathy because He knew you needed someone like that. Someone who doesn't force you to speak when your soul is too tired to find the right words. Someone who understands that sometimes just being there is enough. Think about the times you've felt overwhelmed or burdened. Was there someone who just sat with you without expecting you to explain yourself? Someone who offered comfort without prying into your thoughts? That's a special kind of presence. It's not about solving your problems or giving you advice. It's about being a quiet pillar of support when words can't capture what you're feeling. Sometimes, this kind of connection happens gradually. You might not even realize at first how much they understand you, but then, one day, you notice how they notice the little things, how they pick up on your mood shifts, how they give you space when you need it, and how they offer their support without making a big deal out of it. It's subtle, but it's profound. We often think love has to be loud and expressive. We imagine passionate declarations and grand gestures. But love that understands your silence is quiet, gentle, and patient. It doesn't demand anything from you. It doesn't push you to talk when you're not ready. It respects your inner world, your need to process your emotions at your own pace. Maybe you've had people in your life who made you feel guilty for being quiet. They would ask, "What's wrong with you?" or "Why aren't you talking?" as if silence is something to fix. But then you meet someone who just gets it. They don't pressure you. They don't need constant words to feel close to you. They value your quiet moments just as much as your laughter and stories. That's when you realize that love is not just about filling the space with conversation. It's about being comfortable with the pauses, the quiet, the stillness. It's about knowing that sometimes the strongest connections are built not through words, but through presence. Maybe Allah blessed you with someone who knows how to handle your silences because he knows how much your soul needs that kind of understanding. Sometimes, when you're struggling with something deep and personal, you don't even know how to put it into words. But they don't force you to explain. They simply stay with you, reminding you that you're not alone. That's what makes this kind of love different. It's not about being entertained or constantly engaged. It's about feeling safe enough to be yourself, even when yourself is quiet, reserved, or a little distant. It's about having someone who doesn't mistake your silence for anger or indifference. They just know that sometimes you need a moment to breathe, to think, to feel without having to narrate every emotion. If you've found someone who understands your silences, cherish that connection. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, finding someone who values listening without judgment is rare. They are not just listening to your words, they are listening to your heart. This kind of love teaches you that sometimes saying nothing is also a way of expressing everything. It teaches you that presence can be more powerful than words, and that sometimes simply being there is the most profound way to show you care. When Allah sends you someone who understands your silence, it's a blessing. It's a reminder that love doesn't always need words to be felt. Sometimes it's in the quiet, unspoken moments that the deepest connections are made. Hold on to those who know how to sit with your silence without trying to change it. That's love in its purest, most thoughtful form. Lesson 5. The one who stays during your storms. Why haven't they given up on me? Have you ever looked at someone and wondered, why haven't they given up on me? You know you've made mistakes, pushed them away, or been difficult to deal with. Yet, no matter how hard things get, they stay. They don't abandon you when you're at your lowest. Instead, they're right there, weathering the storm alongside you, even when it would have been easier for them to walk away. You can't help but question why. Why do they keep holding on when others have let go? Why do they choose to stand by you when your life feels like it's falling apart? It's not because they're naive or don't see your flaws. It's because they care enough to see past your struggles and believe in the person you can become. They know that your hardships don't define you. To them, you're worth fighting for. Sometimes Allah places someone in your life who doesn't just celebrate your successes, but walks with you through your failures. This person doesn't get scared off when life gets messy. They don't pack up and leave when you're too overwhelmed to even put on a brave face. They see you at your worst and still choose to stay. That kind of loyalty is rare. It's not easy to find someone who won't just be there for the good times, but will also hold your hand through the chaos. When you're going through your darkest days, it's easy to feel like you're a burden to everyone around you. You might even convince yourself that no one could possibly want to deal with your struggles. But then there's that one person who doesn't let you push them away. They gently remind you that you don't have to go through this alone. They remind you that being strong doesn't mean suffering in silence. Sometimes you might feel guilty for leaning on them. You might feel like you're taking too much from them, like your problems are too heavy to share. But they don't see it that way. To them, being there for you isn't a burden. It's a choice they make out of love and loyalty. They know that you would do the same for them. They see your pain, and they refuse to leave you to carry it alone. Think back to the times you felt like you hit rock bottom. Maybe you lost a job, went through a family crisis, or struggled with your mental health. Who was there to check up on you? Who made sure you were eating, sleeping, and holding on? Sometimes, it's easy to overlook the quiet presence of those who stayed when life was anything but easy. You might have been so caught up in your pain that you didn't fully appreciate the way they stuck around. It's not that they don't get tired or frustrated. Sometimes they do. But they see beyond your pain. They see the person underneath, the one who's trying to find their way back. They have faith that you'll make it through, even when you doubt yourself. Their patience isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of profound strength. It takes courage to love someone who's going through a storm, knowing that you might get caught in the rain too. Allah places people like this in your life as a reminder that love isn't just about happiness and laughter. It's about commitment. It's about choosing to stay when walking away would be so much easier. It's about standing firm when the ground beneath you feels like it's shaking. They don't stay because they're obligated to. They stay because they genuinely care about you. They see your potential even when you're too drained to see it yourself. Sometimes we push people away when we're hurting because we think it's better to be alone than risk being abandoned. But when someone keeps coming back, even after you've tried to push them out, it's not because they're stubborn. It's because they believe that your storm is temporary and they're willing to wait it out with you. That kind of love is selfless. It's rooted in faith that things will get better. And you know what? Sometimes Allah is showing you something through them. Maybe He's reminding you that you're not meant to go through life alone. Maybe He's telling you that love isn't just about feeling good, but also about enduring hardship together. The ones who stay during your storms are the ones who see you not just for who you are right now, but for who you're striving to become. They hold on because they know that with patience and faith, you'll get through it. When someone stays through your hardest moments, don't take that for granted. Appreciate their resilience. Appreciate their willingness to hold on when you're barely holding yourself together. Sometimes we think love is only about joy and excitement, but the strongest love survives through tears, doubts, and fears. It's about sticking together when life feels too heavy to bear alone. If you have someone who doesn't give up on you, even when you're at your lowest, hold on to them. They're not just a friend or a partner, they're a blessing. They're a reminder that Allah's mercy often comes in the form of people who refuse to let you go. No matter how hard it gets, they're willing to face it with you because they believe that the person they love is worth it. Sometimes, love means carrying each other through the rough patches. It means choosing to stay when everything in you says it's easier to leave. When someone stands by you during your storms, it's Allah's way of saying that you are deserving of unconditional support and care. Don't let pride or fear make you push them away. Embrace the ones who stay, because they're showing you what real love and loyalty look like. In the end, it's not about being strong on your own. It's about allowing yourself to be supported when life gets overwhelming. The people who stay aren't just proving their love. They're also teaching you that sometimes it's okay to lean on someone else. It's okay to accept help and admit that you're struggling. Allah didn't create us to face hardships alone. He gave us companions who hold on, even when we're falling apart. So, if you're blessed with someone who remains steadfast when your world is falling apart, thank Allah for them. Make dua for them. Appreciate them, because not everyone has that kind of unwavering support. Love that stays during the storms is rare, and when you find it, it's worth more than anything else in this world. Lesson 6. The one who makes you smile. Why does their presence lift my mood? Have you ever noticed how some people just have this incredible ability to make you smile, even when your heart feels heavy? You could be having the worst day, feeling drained and overwhelmed, but then they show up, and suddenly the world doesn't seem so harsh. It's like they carry this light within them, a kind of warmth that brightens even your darkest moments. You don't even realize how much you needed that light until it's there, melting away your worries. You might wonder why their presence has such an effect on you. It's not that they're doing anything particularly grand or extravagant. Sometimes it's just a simple smile, a kind word, or the way they listen without judgment. It's not about what they say, it's about how they make you feel. Safe, understood, happy, without even trying. Have you ever thought that maybe Allah placed this person in your life as a way to ease your burdens? Sometimes, the most powerful form of support doesn't come in the form of solutions or advice. It comes in the form of someone who knows how to bring joy to your soul when you've forgotten how to smile. It's like they know exactly what to say to lighten your heart. Or sometimes, they don't say anything at all. They just show up, and that. Think back to the times when you felt overwhelmed. Maybe life was hitting you from all sides. Family issues, work stress, personal struggles. You felt like no one really understood what you were going through. Then, unexpectedly, this person appears. Maybe they didn't even know what you were dealing with, but just being around them made everything feel less daunting. They didn't have to solve your problems. They just reminded you that there's still something beautiful in your day, even if it's just their smile or their way of making you laugh. Sometimes we underestimate the power of happiness that comes from simply being in someone's presence. We live in a world that often glorifies drama and complexity, but real love can be as simple as someone who knows how to make you smile when you're feeling down. It's not forced, it's not over the top, it's just effortless. They make you feel lighter without making you feel like you're a burden. You might even question why they care so much. Why do they go out of their way to make you feel better? Why do they always seem to sense when you need a little extra encouragement? It's because they genuinely care about your well-being. They want to see you happy, not because they need anything from you, but because your happiness matters to them. That kind of love is selfless and pure. It's not just about being there for the good times. It's about being the good in your life when everything else feels chaotic. Sometimes, you might not even realize how important they are until they're not around. You'll catch yourself wishing you could just hear their laugh or see their smile, because, in their absence, you feel the weight of the world a little more. It's then that you understand that their presence didn't just make you happy, it made you feel safe. Safe to be yourself, safe to admit that you're struggling, and safe to take a break from the pressure of being strong all the time. The beauty of having someone who lifts your mood isn't just about how they make you feel in that moment. It's about how their positivity lingers even after they've left. You might replay their jokes or their words in your head when you're alone, and it still brings a smile to your face. That's when you know it's not just surface-level happiness. It's deeper than that. It's a kind of joy that reaches your soul and stays with you, even when they're not physically present. When Allah places someone like this in your life, it's a blessing. It's His way of reminding you that He knows what your heart needs, even when you're not aware of it yourself. Sometimes you might feel undeserving of their kindness, but they don't see it that way. To them, making you smile is natural because they genuinely want to see you happy. Think about how rare it is to find someone like that. In a world filled with negativity and stress, finding someone who effortlessly brings happiness is like finding a treasure. Sometimes we get so caught up in our struggles that we overlook the person who is quietly being our source of light. Don't take that person for granted. Their presence is a gift, one that not everyone is fortunate enough to experience. It's important to appreciate people who make your life a little bit brighter. Show them gratitude. Let them know that their efforts don't go unnoticed. Sometimes, people who are naturally positive and uplifting don't realize the impact they have. A simple, "Thank you for always being there," can mean the world to them. And if you're wondering why Allah placed someone like this in your life, remember that Allah knows your heart better than you do. Maybe He saw your silent struggles, your quiet battles, and decided to give you someone who could remind you that life doesn't have to be heavy all the time. Maybe this person is a form of His mercy, showing you that there's still joy to be found, even in the midst of hardship. If you've found someone whose presence feels like a breath of fresh air, cherish them. Love that brings peace, laughter, and comfort is rare. It's not just about romantic feelings or grand promises. It's about the way they make your soul feel lighter just by being there. Sometimes, it's the simple things that matter most. Maybe you don't realize it yet, but their ability to make you smile so effortlessly is Allah's way of reminding you that happiness is still part of your story. Don't overlook it. Hold on to it. Sometimes the most profound love is the kind that makes you feel better just by being around. It's not about fixing your problems, but making your heart feel at home. That's a kind of love worth keeping, worth appreciating, and worth nurturing. In the end, remember that Allah knows exactly who you need and when you need them. If He's placed someone in your life who lifts your mood without effort, it's because He knows your heart needs that kind of warmth. Don't take it for granted. Celebrate those moments of joy and let that person know just how much they mean to you. Sometimes a simple smile from the right person can remind you that everything is going to be okay. Lesson 7. The one who prays for you. Why do I feel supported even when they're not around? Have you ever had this feeling that despite everything going on in your life, you're somehow protected? It's as if even when things get tough, you're being shielded from the worst of it. You may not know why, but deep down, you feel like someone out there is praying for you. It's a feeling of unexpected calm, even when life is chaotic. You wonder why certain things just seem to work out, even when you didn't see a way forward. Sometimes, Allah sends people into your life who don't just care about you when they're physically present, but who continue to care even when you're apart. These are the ones who make dua for you, who ask Allah to protect you, to bless you, to grant you peace and happiness. They don't just pray for you when things are good, they pray for you when they know you're struggling, and even when you're too tired to pray for yourself. Think about it. There are moments when you feel overwhelmed, and suddenly you find an unexpected solution. Or maybe you're having one of those days where sadness just lingers, but then out of nowhere you feel a sense of peace. That's not just random. Sometimes that peace is the result of someone asking Allah to ease your burdens. It's like their prayers create a shield around you, even when they're not there to support you physically. People like this are rare because praying for someone else takes love, commitment, and sincerity. It's easy to say a quick prayer for someone when they're right in front of you, but it takes a special kind of person to remember you in their du'as when they're alone with Allah. They might never tell you they're doing it. They might never seek recognition or thanks. To them, your well-being is worth the time spent asking Allah to watch over you. Have you ever been at a low point and suddenly felt like something changed, like a weight lifted off your heart? Sometimes that's because someone who cares about you was praying for your strength. Maybe they heard about your struggles, or maybe they just sensed something was off. Either way, they took your pain to Allah, asking for relief on your behalf. That kind of love is not just thoughtful, it's profound. Sometimes you might feel disconnected from Allah yourself. You're too tired, too overwhelmed to make dua. You might feel guilty about it, thinking you should be stronger. But that's when the prayers of someone who loves you become even more significant. Allah knows that our hearts get weary, and sometimes He sends people into our lives who help carry the weight through their prayers. You might not even realize how many storms you've survived because of someone else's dua. There's something deeply comforting about knowing that someone out there is asking Allah to protect you. They're not trying to change you or solve your problems themselves. Instead, they're entrusting you to the one who knows your soul better than anyone else. They're asking Allah to give you strength, to ease your pain, to guide your steps, even when they're not around to do it themselves. Maybe it's your mother who whispers your name in her prayers every night, asking Allah to grant you happiness and protect you from harm. Or maybe it's a friend who sees your struggles and quietly makes dua for your heart to find peace. It could even be someone you least expect, someone who has seen your kindness or your sincerity and feels compelled to pray for your well-being. You might never know who it is. They may never tell you, but you can feel it. You feel it when you're at your lowest, and suddenly hope flickers back into your heart. You feel it when you're anxious, and unexpectedly calm washes over you. That's not just luck or coincidence. That's the power of sincere, heartfelt dua. Sometimes we take people's prayers for granted. We think, oh, it's just a prayer. But in reality, when someone prays for you sincerely, it's like they're advocating for you in the most profound way. They're calling on Allah, the most merciful, to take care of you when they can't. They're showing their love in the purest form possible, through a silent, unseen plea for your happiness. If you have someone who prays for you, even when you don't know it, you are truly blessed. These are the people who care about your soul, your heart, and your well-being in ways that words can't capture. They know that their presence might not always be enough to help you, but they have faith that Allah's presence always will be. That's why they keep praying, even when you're apart, even when they have their own struggles. When you realize that someone is praying for you, it's humbling. It makes you think about how much love it takes to include you in someone's most intimate moments with Allah. You might not see their hands raised in dua or hear the quiet whispers of your name, but the effects are real. You feel safer, more at peace, and more resilient because of it. Take a moment to think about the people in your life who might be making dua for you without you knowing. It could be a parent, a sibling, a spouse, or a friend. Sometimes it's someone you've helped without realizing the impact you had. Their gratitude becomes a prayer for your protection. When you find out that someone has been praying for you, it can bring tears to your eyes. You realize that love isn't just about grand gestures or being physically present. Sometimes love is found in whispered duas during the quiet hours of the night. It's found in asking Allah to watch over you when they're too far to help. It's found in caring enough to seek divine intervention when human efforts fall short. If you're blessed enough to know that someone prays for you, never take that for granted. And if you're not sure, still be grateful, because you never know who might be including you in their duas. Sometimes Allah's mercy reaches you through the prayers of someone you've impacted without even realizing it. Be someone who prays for others too, even when you're struggling. Making dua for someone else not only benefits them, but also purifies your own heart. It's a selfless act that pleases Allah and brings blessings to both the giver and the receiver. If you know someone who needs prayers, make dua for them. You never know how much your prayer could mean to them during their hardest moments. Sometimes you're the one who can be that unseen support, lifting someone's spirit when they feel too weak to make dua themselves. In the end, love that prays for you is love that transcends distance and time. It's love that relies on Allah to take care of you when human hands can't. Hold on to those who pray for you, and never underestimate the power of those silent, heartfelt whispers. It might just be the reason you find strength on your hardest days. Sometimes, love doesn't come with loud announcements or flashing signs. It quietly enters your life, disguised as a friend, a supporter, or someone who just makes your soul feel at peace. Maybe, after watching this video, you realize that your soulmate could already be in your life, waiting for you to recognize them. Now, take a moment to reflect. Think about the people around you who fit these signs. Have you been overlooking someone special? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Your story might inspire someone else to see love differently. If this video gave you a new perspective or made you think twice about your connections, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. And if you haven't yet, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more inspiring and thought-provoking content. Your support means the world, and your reflections matter. Until next time, may Allah guide you to the love that's destined for you, even if it's closer than you think. They smiled in your face. They said, "I'm happy for you." They even made dua for your success. But behind your back, they were praying for your downfall. They were mocking your pain. They were watching, not to support you, but to see when you would finally fall. And the worst part? You still call them your friend. Listen closely. Because what they're hiding behind that smile could be the very reason your heart feels heavy, your peace feels stolen, and your blessings suddenly stop flowing. And Islam, it warned you about them long ago. This isn't just a video. This is a mirror. For everything you've ignored. For every fake friend you've trusted. For every red flag you've explained away in the name of love, loyalty, and maybe I'm just overthinking. You're not imagining it. You're not paranoid. You're being shown the truth. And today, we're going to uncover it together. Lesson 1. The fake smile is louder than silence. They don't always hurt you with insults. Sometimes, the most painful attack is a smile. You've seen it before. They smile when they see you. They say, MashaAllah, Inshallah, how are you? But something about it feels off. Their words are sweet, but their energy is bitter. You feel it. Deep inside, something whispers, this smile isn't real. But you ignore it. You tell yourself you're overthinking. You choose to believe they care, because it's easier to pretend than to admit someone close might be hiding harm behind kindness. But Allah already told us the truth. In their hearts is a disease. Surah Baqarah 2:10. These people aren't just faking love. They're living in a state of spiritual sickness. They don't congratulate you from the heart. They do it from their ego. They don't say MashaAllah to protect you. They say it so you don't notice the envy in their eyes. They don't wish you well. They wish it was them instead of you. And you feel that unease, that discomfort, that tightness in your chest after you talk to them. That's not anxiety. That's not weakness. That's Allah protecting you. Your gut is not your enemy. It's your inner warning system. It's Allah whispering, be careful. This person is not who they seem. So don't suppress that feeling. Don't force yourself to smile back when your soul is screaming no. You're not being paranoid. You're being protected. Not every smile is sincere, and not every person deserves access to your heart. Lesson 2. They're not jealous of what you have. They're jealous it's you that has it. It's easy to think people are jealous because you have something they don't. A nice house, a happy marriage, a peaceful heart, success in your work. But the truth is deeper and more painful. They're not jealous of what you have. They're jealous that you're the one who has it. It bothers them that Allah chose you. It bothers them that you're smiling through storms they couldn't survive. It bothers them that you're still standing after everything you went through. They don't see the sleepless nights you had. They don't know about the tears you cried when no one was watching. They don't understand how many times you wanted to give up, but you still held on to Allah. They just see you now. They see your strength, your peace, your quiet confidence, and it eats them up inside. Because deep down, they wanted to see you broken. They wanted life to humble you. But instead, Allah honored you. And that's what they can't stand. You didn't buy your peace. You earned it with your patience. You didn't stumble into your blessings. You prayed through every door that opened. But they'll never admit that. Because their pride won't let them say, maybe Allah is honoring this person because they turned to Him in ways I never did. Instead, they talk. They roll their eyes when you succeed. They joke about you in private. They question how you got what you got. But don't let that make you feel guilty. Because what you have, it's not just a blessing, it's a test. And Allah gave you that test because He knew your heart could carry it. So don't shrink to make others comfortable. Don't hide your blessings because someone else is insecure. Don't dull your light just because it exposes someone else's darkness. You didn't choose this path. Allah chose you for it. So walk with your head high, not in arrogance, but in gratitude. Because their jealousy is proof that Allah raised you. And when Allah raises you, no amount of envy can pull you down. Lesson 3. Your oversharing is feeding their secret hatred. You think you're just being open. You're sharing your joy, your plans, your pain, because that's how your heart works. You're honest, you're real, you're not hiding anything. But the truth is, not everyone deserves access to your soul. Some people don't want to understand you. They want to observe you. They ask questions with soft smiles. They listen carefully. They act supportive. But in their hearts, they're collecting information. Not to help you, but to hurt you when the time is right. You're feeding their silent hatred with your honesty. You're handing them the very weapons they'll use to talk about you, judge you, or even pray for your failure in private. And the hardest part, you don't see it until it's too late. Because you trusted them, because you thought they had your back, because you believed the love was real. But it wasn't. It was curiosity. It was jealousy wearing a friendly face. Let me remind you of something powerful from the Qur'an. When Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam had a dream that showed he was going to rise. The first thing his father said was, "O my son, do not tell your vision to your brothers, or they will plan against you." 12.5. Subhanallah, his own brothers, not strangers, not enemies, but family. Why? Because even those closest to you can carry envy in their hearts. And sometimes it's the people who eat with you, laugh with you, and hug you, who secretly can't stand to see you ahead of them. This is not about being cold or paranoid. This is about wisdom. Islam teaches us to have a pure heart, but it also teaches us to be careful with who we let inside. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Be careful who you take as a companion. You are upon the religion of your close friend." And what you share will eventually shape that connection. If someone isn't feeding your iman, if they're not pulling you closer to Allah, if they gossip about others with you, there's a high chance they're gossiping about you too. You don't owe anyone your secrets. You don't need to explain every step you take. You don't have to announce your goals, your blessings, or your next move. Because when people can't figure you out, they can't attack you properly. Your silence is protection, your privacy is power, and your peace comes from keeping your circle small and your intentions between you and Allah. Not everyone clapping for you is happy for you. And not everyone who says MashaAllah means it. So keep your heart pure, but guard it. Be kind, but don't be naive. Speak the truth, but know when to stay quiet. Because sometimes, the less they know, the more peace you'll have. Lesson 4. Allah removes people you're too weak to walk away from. You didn't want them to leave. You kept giving them chances. You kept hoping they'd change. You held on even when your heart was breaking because you believed in them more than they believed in you. And then, they left. Or maybe they betrayed you. Maybe they distanced themselves without warning. Maybe they turned cold and quiet, and you were left wondering, what did I do wrong? But what if I told you? You didn't lose them. Allah removed them, not to punish you, not to leave you alone, but because you were too weak to walk away from someone who was silently destroying you. You saw the red flags. You felt the confusion. You noticed how the relationship drained your soul. But you stayed. Because your heart was loyal, even when theirs wasn't. So Allah stepped in. He did what you couldn't. He ended the connection, not to hurt you, but to heal you. It felt like rejection, but it was actually protection. Think about it. How many times did you cry because of them? How many nights did you make dua for clarity, for peace, for something real? And Allah answered. But the answer didn't come wrapped in comfort. It came through separation. It came through heartbreak. It came through silence. Sometimes your biggest blessing comes disguised as the thing you feared most. Letting go. The people Allah removes from your life. He heard conversations you didn't hear. He saw the moments they spoke badly about you behind your back. He witnessed the envy in their hearts that you were too pure to see. And he said, "That's enough." You didn't see their darkness because you loved them through it. But Allah saw it clearly. And in His mercy, He pulled you away. Because if they stayed, you would have lost yourself. You would have kept giving while they kept taking. You would have kept praying for someone who never once prayed for you. So don't cry because it ended. Say Alhamdulillah that Allah ended it before it destroyed you. Let this sink in. When Allah takes someone away, it's never to leave a void. It's to make space. Space for peace, for growth, for people who genuinely care, for a life where you don't have to beg for love, loyalty, or honesty. Yes, it hurts. You miss them. You replay memories. You wonder if you should have done more. But what if Allah was waiting for you to realize, I am enough for you. I will replace what you lost with something better. Because the truth is, when you hold on to people that Allah is trying to remove, you block the blessings He's trying to send. So today, let it go. Not because they're bad people, but because they're not meant for the version of you that's coming. You prayed for peace. You begged for strength. And Allah answered you by breaking what was slowly breaking you. That's not punishment. That's pure love from Al-Hakim, the most wise. Lesson 5. The betrayal wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to wake you. Betrayal hits differently. It doesn't come from your enemies. It comes from the people you trusted the most. The ones you never imagined would hurt you. The ones you defended when others warned you. The ones you cried to about the pain they eventually caused. It's not just the betrayal that hurts. It's the realization that everything you thought was real wasn't. That the love you gave wasn't returned. That the loyalty you showed wasn't valued. You start questioning everything. Yourself, your worth, your judgment, your ability to trust anyone again. But what if I told you that betrayal was never meant to break you? It was meant to wake you. Because sometimes Allah has to shake your world, to show you who doesn't deserve to be in it. You were too soft with people who were hard-hearted. You kept making excuses for behavior that was slowly killing your peace. You ignored the signs, the red flags, the sleepless nights. Because you didn't want to believe someone you cared for could turn on you. But Allah knew. And in His mercy, He allowed the betrayal. Not to punish you, but to protect you. He wanted you to stop begging for love in places where there was only ego. He wanted to wake you up from the illusion, so you could see the truth clearly. He wanted you to outgrow the people you were never meant to stay small with. Because the version of you that cried for them is not the version that will carry your future. You needed the pain, not because you deserved it, but because it taught you what peace never could. It taught you who you are when everything falls apart. It taught you how to talk to Allah in the middle of the night, when no one else is listening. It taught you how to stand on your own, not bitter, but better. Not vengeful, but wiser. Not colder, just more protected. Think of the Prophet Yusuf, upon him peace. His own brothers betrayed him, threw him in a well, lied to their father. And years later, Allah raised him in rank so high that even those same brothers had to stand before him in awe. Allah used their betrayal to shape Yusuf's future. And He's doing the same for you. You didn't lose anything. You were redirected, pushed away from something temporary into something eternal. Because what you thought was love was actually a lesson. What you thought was your person was just your test. And what felt like a punishment was actually a doorway to your real healing. So stop asking why they did what they did. Stop replaying their words, their silence, their cruelty. That chapter is closed. Now ask yourself, what did this pain teach me? What did it free me from? What did it wake me up to? Because the most powerful version of you is the one that rose from betrayal and didn't let it poison your heart. You just got wiser, stronger, closer to Allah, and more focused on what truly matters. And that is a victory no one can ever take from you. Lesson 6. Being alone isn't a curse. It's a divine invitation. You feel it late at night, when your phone is quiet, when no one checks in, when the people you used to pour your heart into don't even ask how you're doing anymore. You're surrounded by people, but somehow you still feel alone. And a part of you starts to wonder, did I do something wrong? Why did they leave? Why do I feel so forgotten? But here's what your heart needs to hear. Being alone isn't a punishment. It's not a curse. It's not a sign that something is wrong with you. It's a divine invitation from Allah to reconnect, to return, to rise. Because sometimes Allah removes the noise. He takes away the distractions. He distances you from people you relied on too much, so that you finally start relying on Him. He clears the room, so you and Him can speak without interruption. No fake smiles, no forced conversations, no pretending. Just you and your Creator. You see, we live in a world that tells you, if you're alone, you're unwanted. If you're single, you're incomplete. If you're quiet, you're irrelevant. But Islam teaches the opposite. The Prophet, peace be upon him, would go up to the cave of Hira alone to think, to reflect, to connect with Allah. And it was in that solitude that revelation came. Musa alayhi salam was isolated from his people when Allah spoke to him directly. Maryam alayhi salam withdrew from society when she was chosen for a miracle. Isolation always comes before transformation. So maybe right now you're not being left behind. You're being prepared to hear what you couldn't hear in the noise. Prepared to receive blessings you weren't ready for yet. Prepared to find strength in silence. Because when no one is there to distract you, you finally start to see yourself clearly. You start to notice your worth. You start to recognize how much you gave to people who never gave back. And most importantly, you start to remember Allah, not just as a concept, but as a companion. Indeed, Allah is with those who are patient. Qur'an 2:153. He is with you when the world forgets you, when the friend doesn't reply, when the invitation doesn't come, when the calls stop. He is still there. Every tear you cried in private, he saw it. Every time you smiled while your heart was breaking, he recorded it. Every time you felt invisible, he was writing it down for the day no one else's opinion will matter. So don't rush to fill the silence. Don't beg people to stay. Don't run back to what Allah is trying to pull you away from. Use this quiet season. Turn your loneliness into worship. Turn your heartbreak into connection. Turn your emptiness into a space Allah can fill. Because being alone is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of something beautiful between you and the one who never leaves. Lesson 7. Real Muslims don't clap when you fall. You fell. You made a mistake. You slipped, got lost, maybe even hit rock bottom. And instead of support, you got silence. Instead of a hand to lift you up, you got whispers behind your back. Instead of someone saying, "I'm here for you." You saw smirks. You heard judgment. You felt the distance. And the hardest part, some of those people claimed to be religious, claimed to love you for the sake of Allah, claimed to be your brothers and sisters in faith. But when you were at your lowest, they didn't remind you of Allah with love. They threw His name at you like a weapon. They didn't guide you. They exposed you. They didn't pray for you. They gossiped about you. But here's something every broken heart needs to remember. Real Muslims don't clap when you fall. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "None of you truly believes until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself." Bukhari. Real Muslims cry with you. They don't cheer when you cry alone. They cover your faults. They make excuses for you. They check on you privately, sincerely, with no agenda. Because they know what happened to you could have happened to them. No one is above falling. No one is above weakness. And the minute we forget that, we stop being humble servants and start acting like judges. But we're not judges. We're witnesses. Witnesses to each other's pain. Witnesses to each other's growth. Witnesses to the journey back to Allah, a journey we're all on. You don't need people who love you when you're perfect. You need people who stand beside you when you're broken and still remind you of your worth. You need people who say, "Let's get back up together. Let's pray together. Let's start again." Because Islam is not a competition. It's a collective climb. A team effort. We rise by lifting each other. We rise by protecting each other. But if someone celebrates your pain, that's not faith. That's ego dressed in religion. And if you've ever been mocked, humiliated, or made to feel unworthy of coming back to Allah, let me say this clearly. They do not speak for Islam. Allah is Ar-Rahman, the most merciful. He opens His door for you every single night. He welcomes you with love, not with judgment. He doesn't replay your sins. He replaces them with good deeds when you sincerely return to Him. So don't let the coldness of people push you away from the warmth of Allah. Don't let fake friends trick you into thinking you're beyond repair. You're not. Your fall was never the end. It was a reminder that your strength comes from Allah, not from being flawless. So rise, repent, and rebuild. Because when Allah lifts you, no one can laugh loud enough to block your light. Lesson 8. You don't need revenge. You need redemption. You were hurt, and it wasn't just a little mistake. It was betrayal. It was disrespect. It was the kind of pain that made you sit in silence, staring at the ceiling, asking yourself, why me? They lied about you, used you, abandoned you when you needed them the most. And somehow, They moved on like nothing happened. You see them laughing, living, winning, and deep down, something burns inside you. That voice whispers, "They don't deserve to be happy after what they did to me. They should feel what I felt. They should break the way they broke me." It's natural. You're human. Wanting revenge is part of the pain. But let me tell you something that will set your heart free. You don't need revenge. You need redemption, because revenge might satisfy your ego, but it won't heal your soul. You think hurting them will fix the hurt inside you, but all it does is drag you deeper into the same darkness they live in. And you're better than that. You were built for more than bitterness. Allah sees what no one else sees. He hears what no one else hears. He knows how many nights you cried silently, how many times you forgave them in your heart, how heavy it's been to carry the hurt and still keep walking. And Allah loves those who are patient. Qur'an 3:146. Redemption isn't about pretending it didn't hurt. It's about rising above it. It's about saying, "Ya Allah, they broke me, but I'm giving the pieces to you. They tried to ruin me, but I trust that you will rebuild me better." And let's be honest, what could you ever do to them that Allah can't handle better? Let that sink in. Allah is Al-Adl, the most just. He doesn't miss a single tear, a single betrayal, a single wound. While you're plotting revenge, Allah is already planning your recovery. While you're stuck in pain, He's already writing your peace. You don't need to waste your energy proving a point to people who never cared. Let Allah defend you. Let Allah show the truth in His time, not yours. The Prophet, peace be upon him, forgave the people who threw stones at him, who made him bleed, who cursed him after everything he gave. Why? Because he knew winning in this life isn't about payback. It's about purpose. He didn't need revenge. He had something better, redemption through Allah. So stop letting your heart carry their darkness. Your peace is too valuable. Your future is too important. Turn your pain into dua. Turn your bitterness into wisdom. Turn your wounds into worship. Because when Allah lifts you, He does it in a way that makes everyone wonder how you're still standing, still smiling, still shining. And that is a victory no revenge could ever match. They smiled in your face, but it was never real. Now you see the truth. Now you choose peace. Now you walk with Allah, even if it means walking alone. And trust me, there's no path more powerful.